listening to the Straight to Video podcast with Rob Lane.
What's going on out there? Hope you're all doing okay, and welcome to my show, Straight to Video. Today's guest is a great dude and one of the most talented multi-instrumentalists out there today, but a lot of you will probably know him as the keyboard player for UK melodic rock band Midnite City, Mr. Shawn Charvette. I've loved getting to know Shawn over the past few years. In fact, he took over my slot in the Poison tribute band, which I was in, crikey, getting on for about 10 years ago now. As I mentioned though, Shawn can handle pretty much any role in a band, so when some of the members were unable to commit to a show last year in that kind of weird time when we tried to come out of the first lockdown, I got the call to don the Bobby Doll wig one more time, and Shawn got to be Ricky Rocket for one night only on drums, which was a lot of fun. In our chat, Shawn takes us right back to his days growing up in the north of the UK, his early passions for football, and then having a life-changing moment in front of the TV screen watching Purple Rain by Prince. From that point on, it was all about the music, and Shawn shares his journey with us right up to present day as Midnite City gets set to release their third album, Itch You Can't Scratch, on Roulette Records, and you can pick up your copy by simply visiting midnitecity.com. The band have already released 3 singles from the upcoming release with some killer videos which Shawn has been hands-on in working on and putting together. This guy really continues to expand on all his creative talents, and it's awesome to see. Before the chat though, I got a shout as always to Dead Skull Coffee for continuing to support the show with their independently run rock and roll coffee company. Be sure to check out their website deadskullcoffee.co.uk, where you can grab some of the finest ground or full bean coffee with a massive 15% discount simply for listening to this show. On checkout, add the promo code STV and the discount will be automatically added there and then. So let's get into my chat with Shawn Charvette. It really was great to catch up with him, and if you enjoy this talk, please show Midnite City some love on all social media platforms and get ready for them to release their great new record in just a few weeks. But right now, thanks for listening, and please enjoy this straight to video talk with Shawn Charvette.
Hey, dude.
How's it going, mate?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm all right, sir. I'm all right. Long time no see.
I know, man. I've missed you. I know it's been a little bit too long, hasn't it, I think?
Last time I was wearing a wig.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, the poison thing. Yeah, I forgot that we even did that. It was, can't remember when that was. It was too long ago.
Yeah, I think that was like summer going into autumn last year or something like that. So where are you at the moment?
I'm at home in the studio. I wish I could show you, actually. I've basically built a home studio. And I spent all yesterday building this really cool desk and kitting out the whole room. So it's really, really cool. I've got pictures to put up everywhere. And from what I can see, it looks really impressive because I've got all these posters and pictures and synthesizers. But what you can see is pretty crap because there's nothing behind me. So yours looks really impressive, but I didn't consider what was behind me when I was doing this.
Congrats on the new video, because I think you've been hands-on with that, haven't you?
Oh my God. I spent so much time. I mean, no one's going to be able to see behind the scenes stuff, but I spent like 3 months solid working on the research. I read about 4 books, like the original Dracula, really sort of went into the whole vampire thing. There's loads of like Easter eggs in the video. Like some bits are written in Romanian, and they're like translations to some of the lyrics as well, which are sort of scattered about. So I just went, like, I thought I'm never going to get the chance to do something on this scale again. So I just went, go big or go home sort of thing, you know.
Was you in on the editing as well, or just the directing and like the setting up of it?
Yeah, the editing as well. I wasn't able to physically be there for the editing, but I knew what I wanted it to look like. And I felt bad for Elliot, the guy who edited it, because I had this gargantuan list of everything that needed to be there. And when we were shooting it all, I was like, I had a monitor so I could see what the camera was seeing, and I was directing it from there. And then after that, he went obviously home and he looked at my list and he basically did everything that I asked, which was great. And then when it came back, it went back and forth about 3 times because there was some fixes that I weren't happy with, like filtration and lighting and exposure. But when he got it like right, I was like, that's it. That's the money right there, you know. Really, really cool.
Sweet. So I'll dive in and let's just see where things go. I get the feeling you're someone who's moved around a lot growing up, because I think at one point you've lived up north. And have you lived in Essex at one point?
Yeah, I'm not an Essex boy, obviously you can tell from the accent, but yeah, I'm originally from, I always say Preston because no one's heard of where I'm actually from, and people think, what is that, in Mordor? Or, you know, where is that? So really small little village called Tarleton near the west coast, northwest coast, and yeah, just sheep, you know, and my next door neighbour was a horse, for example, you know, really small place. Great, you know.
Very country village kind of place.
Yeah, sort of stand by me kind of vibes, you know. There's a peacock farm up the road and one shop in the whole village, you know. That's kind of where I grew up. Yeah, and then after that, I moved to Southport, which some people have heard of, which is on the beach. And then I went to Essex for I think it's about 2 years. I lived in Essex for, and then couldn't really adapt to the southern way of life. I just didn't really like it. I was only 15 when I was there, and it was a little bit too different for me.
That's a big move. Is that a family move through jobs and stuff for your parents from up north down to Essex?
Pretty much, yeah. It was my brother went into the army, and then the sort of family thing was the wanted to sort of try something new. So yeah, we went, and I gave it a go, and I was like, I was 16 and a half or something, and I thought I kind of fancy doing my own thing. So I moved back, and my brother came out of the army at that point, and we both got this apartment. So I was 16 and a half and he was 18, and we were flatmates sort of thing. And that I've been living on my own ever since then. So I've actually been living on my own longer than I've ever lived with my family, which is, it's kind of crossed over now.
How was you and your brother growing up? Because that's a pretty close age difference.
Just best friends. Even now we're best mates. As kids, we're inseparable. You know, we both loved the same sort of things, both played in bands together for years. He was a bass player, and just really close. You know, we were always brought up to kind of like always have each other's back, and just best mates. Even now, I speak to him every day, and yeah, we're just really, really close.
Has he been out to many Midnite City shows?
Yeah, good thing about him, he always makes the effort when I'm playing anywhere towards the north, and that he always, whether it's with a Motley Crue tribute or Midnite City or Guns N' Roses or whatever it is that I'm doing, he always makes the effort to come out, and he stands at the front, you know, and claps and stuff. And yeah, he's a good supporting brother.
Sweet. Has he let the music kind of go into the background a bit now? You say you're in bands with him at one point.
He sort of decided it was a little bit too difficult for him to commit, you know, because he sort of has the premise that some people are more naturally gifted at some things and other people have really got to work at it. He just decided that it wasn't coming to him as easy as it was for me, and he thought, this isn't what I'm meant to do. So he's actually an aspiring writer, novelist at the minute.
Oh, wow. Still in like a creative field then. That's cool.
Oh, absolutely. He's a very, very gifted writing. He writes poetry and things like that. And some of the short stories he's done, he always sends them me, and I send him demos of my songs and he sends me little stories. And yeah, no, he's great. He's really good at that. So I'm hoping at some point in the near future he's going to finish his book and then he can maybe get it published. Because again, like he was there for me, I'll be right behind him, you know, sort of first in line at the book signing at Waterstones or whatever, you know.
Prior to music, was you like really into football?
Yeah, I had trials at Everton Football Club. I was really good, you know. I wasn't obviously the best player, but I was huge into football. David Beckham was my absolute idol. People used to make fun out of me because of it, but the way he's grown up now and he's like such an icon, I think he's actually an incredibly good person to have as a role model, because who doesn't like him now? He's an ambassador, he's a great dad, he's a great husband, he's very talented, and so I think I had it right all those years when people said, oh, David Beckham getting all the haircuts and all that stuff. And
was this before or after his sending off at the England match?
That was 1998, wasn't it? World Cup 98. I would have been, oh God, no, I would have been really quite too young then to sort of appreciate that, because I would have been 9.
Right, so you came in on the upturn because he was public enemy number one.
He was a marked man, wasn't he? No, it was sort of after that when I started really getting into football when I was like 12 sort of thing. And I was just lived and breathed it. It was always my dream was to play. And I've got quite a lot of accolades and trophies from like Player of the Year and stuff like that.
What position was you?
I was a right winger, like Beckham. I always, that might have been my hindrance, because I loved his style of play so much. I tried to sort of mimic it, but to the degree where it may have actually stifled my own progression and my own sort of development of playing the game. Even now, like sometimes, like not so much of the recent future, but when I still play, because I've been doing it like such a very particular way as a kid, when I kick a ball now, the exact same technique he has. If you watch the way he kicks, he has this trailing left leg that slides on like a 90-degree angle. People can't mimic that, but I do it completely naturally now. So I've had mates watch me say, God, you kick the ball just like David Beckham. I'm like, awesome, I spent years trying to get that down. So yeah, it may have been a hindrance, I don't know, but football, yeah, even now I always watch the games and, keep tabs on how the teams are doing and stuff. I miss it, because up until when I moved to Nottingham, which was 3 years ago, I'd played consistently throughout my entire adult life, pretty much every single week, whether it was 11-a-side or 5-a-side. And it's only the past couple of years I haven't been able to, and I've actively looked to try and get back into it. But the standard in the 11-a-side is like, I don't want to sort of, any football fans from Nottingham or anything, but it seems like really rough and ready. People just want to hurt you sort of thing. And I'm like, I was there at a game like a year ago before the pandemic thing. It was like a trial thing, new players turn up for a friendly. There was lads drinking like cans of Stella at the side of the pitch. And I was thinking, wow, I'm not used to this. And when I went on, they were literally trying to kill me. I had the long blonde hair tied up in a top knot, and mate, they were really trying to snap me. And I thought, like, what is going on? So I thought maybe 11-a-side just isn't for me. And then I've the 5-a-side thing. I don't really know anyone. Kind of been a bit of a recluse, reluctantly. Really, I don't actually know anyone apart from like you and obviously Rob and Tom. Pretty much it. And I've been here for 3 years.
Tell you what, we should get a game together. It'd be fucking hilarious, me and Rob Wow.
we get Rob, we get Bobbins on as well, get him playing with his Chorley football t-shirt as well. It'd be great, won't it?
It would actually be a good laugh.
Yeah, I'd be up for that, like all-star football match.
We'd all be knackered.
Oh yeah, like literally like 5 minutes, Josh would just be throwing up. Yeah. Someone you've got to be very, very suspicious of is Pete Nudek, because you wouldn't think it, but he's like suspiciously good at like different sports. It just seems to be this thing where we were doing a festival with Midnite City in Carlisle, and we stayed in this hotel, and there was a ping pong table, and Pete goes, anyone fancy a game of ping pong?
Did you go all Forrest Gump on you?
Rob Wild sort of went, very quickly went, oh yeah, I'll give you a game. Very confidently, mind you. And it was just like, I could see it in his face and his stature that he thought, I'm going to wipe the floor with him, And he got spanked so hard by Nudek. I was watching him and I was like, he's actually really good. Like, the way that they sort of throw the ball in the body and the spin shots. I mean, Rob, I'm not sure if he won 1 or 2 points. And he was like, this is a huge mistake, to challenge him. And he just died. It was really, I never, ever play Nudek at ping pong, because he will just ruin you,
So music comes along. Football manages to kind of stay an interest to you, but I guess music comes in and starts to totally consume everything.
It was the Prince moment, which I think everyone's probably bored of hearing me say now. I'm sure you know the story of how it came to be, where obviously football crazy, my high school best friend, a guy called Lewis McGee, he was in the football team with me, and when we were kids, he said, we'll have a sleepover at my house. And when you're kids, you get, they're excited, don't you, sleeping over at someone's house. And then I was like, that'd be great. And we were there and played football and whatever in the back garden. And then came on, and he's he was a huge Prince fan, and I didn't even know who Prince was.
What year was this?
I think I was about 14 when this happened, give or take. Yeah, about 14 I was, so because I was still in high school. So yeah, I'm not sure what year that is, but I was 32, so you can do the maths. I'm not very good at maths. Yeah, and he said, do you watch a film? I said, yeah, it's great, no worries. And he put on Purple Rain. I was sort of like watching it, and I don't know if like many people have like a moment that they can define where just everything shifts. And yeah, I can remember everything about it, even the smell of the room is very, very vivid. And after the film was finished, like an hour and 42 minutes, however long it is, I knew that was it. Football was over. And I thought, I don't know what it means. I don't know what this is, but whatever he's doing, that's what I have to do, and it just became this obsession. I just wanted to be a musician. I thought he was just the coolest guy in the world, because I don't particularly like all of Prince's music. It's not about that. It's about him. He can walk into any room with anyone and people say, whoa, Prince is here. It doesn't matter how big the star is. They will all say, whoa, he's a man, and it's just undeniably talented.
Did you go out and buy your own copy of Purple Rain like the day after?
Up there on my shelf, I've got the single on vinyl. Yeah, I've had that. I got that 12-inch, got the singles, got pictures, got everything. And then I just said to my mum and dad, I said, please, for Christmas, can I have a guitar? Can I have a drum set? Can I have a synthesizer?
So you wasn't focused on one thing, like Prince is playing a guitar, I want to play a guitar. It was just, I want to be involved in music.
It was. I said, obviously, I played drums, I played bass, I played keyboards, guitar. It was just, I just love music. I don't really mind what it is that I'm playing. I just love playing music. So Prince was always, he was such a high standard at so many instruments. And I thought, if I can do that, it's going to benefit me later in life. And it's only really that last couple of years that I've really noticed that was the best decision I ever made, because now I get inundated with offers to do stuff, which is not me bragging. It's just I've put a lot of work, 15 years of work, and now it's like, oh, I need a bass player, Shawn, you need a drummer, Shawn, need a keyboard player, Shawn. And it's just great. And I'm happy to do all of them. I don't have a preference. So just love it, Absolutely love it.
Did you get to see Prince live on those last shows, which he did in the UK?
I never got to see him. Lewis, he went to see Third Eye Girl, which was his hidden band, played these small clubs in Soho. And basically it's a band that he would do in jazz clubs and stuff. And it was advertised as Third Eye Girl, but no one knew it was Prince. And it was actually Prince and a backing band. And it was an all-female backing band. And he'd just play for like 3 hours in these small clubs in Soho and stuff. And Lewis, because he's like so into Prince, he knew he was in the community. So he knew, and he got tickets and went. And then he got to see Prince in like somewhere that's like the size of frigging the Tap and Tumbler, which is just, that is just mental, isn't it? That's just crazy. Someone as big as that, it's just, but no, I never did. I never got to see him. It was saying that if I'd seen him, I would have wanted to see him in the 80s, Little Red Corvette era, that sort of thing. That's kind of the time that I would have wanted. And obviously I wasn't even born then. So yeah, it's not really a regret because I never got the chance to anyway. Tickets always sell out about a year in advance, don't they? So
what were some of the first instruments you got? Can you remember what your first guitar was?
I've got it in there. I'm quite sentimental about things like that. I've still got my first ever instrument was a Woolworth Special, right? Remember Woolworths? Yeah, obviously you do. Yeah, it was a Casio keyboard. And if you played any more than 3 keys at once, it would just mute itself. It couldn't handle the fact that you were pressing more than 3 keys. So I used to learn to play like Fur Release and whatever. And yeah, you couldn't really get the 2 hands in because it constantly cancelled each other out. It was really crap. That was my first ever instrument. And then after that, I got this Sunburst Strat by like XL again. I think it was like an Argos special thing. After that, when I really, like my mum and my dad was like, he's really taken to this. For my 17th Christmas when I was 17, my mum got me a really, really nice, it's just next to me now, it's a really nice custom Les Paul flame top thing. And that's like the first proper instrument,
Dude.
Yeah. And this, you can't see it, but my Korg Triton, when I moved up north and I got my first job, I was working at a car wash for like 3 years. And for my first pay packet, after paying rent and stuff, I was like, I can't believe all my money's going on like water bill. I was like, what the hell is a water bill? I'm 16. This is really crap. I bought this Korg Triton brand new, and I've had it since I was like 17. And it's been all around the world with me. And I use it even every day. I use it now. And this is like my absolute baby,
That's your go-to.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
You got heavily into like Prince and and stuff, but we're talking like mid-2000s. Was 80s pop culture, music and film something that was an attraction to you, opposed to what was big at the time?
Kind of. Well, growing up, even when I didn't really pay interest into music, my mum and dad, like, really into music. My dad is like massively into Northern Soul, Motown, and he used to go to Wigan Casino dancing for like 8 hours, you know, and doing all that sort of stuff. And all the bands from Detroit would come over and stuff, you know, and he'd go and watch. My mum was into stuff like Fleetwood Mac, the Eagles, Carlos Santana, Thin Lizzy, that sort of stuff. So like together, I was kind of shown quite a variation. And then from there, I kind of got my own thing. And that's Prince was just an accident, you know, getting into that. But then after Prince, I thought I need to, you know, really listen to what they're showing me. And then it was like, you know, synth bands, China Crisis, Depeche Mode, Tears for Fears, OMD. Yeah. And it just started to just get into everything really. And then obviously it went further into when I discovered Bon Jovi for the first time. And that was like the big game changer then, because I thought, whoa, what the hell is this, you know?
When and where was that?
Well, saying that, Meatloaf, actually. Meatloaf came before Bon Jovi. I forgot about that. My uncle, he lived with us for a while. He used to like sort of sleep on the couch. He never knew where to stay. And he had this old cassette of Bat Out of Hell. I remember my brother had this cassette player that he got like a Walkman for his birthday when we were kids. And he had Eye of the Tiger by Survivor on a single thing. He used to play it all the time. I remember stealing it, and I stole the Bat Out of Hell cassette. I listened to it. I was like, oh my God, what is this? This is like, I'd never, and I was only really quite young at this point. So no, Meatloaf actually probably came first. God, yeah, I was quite young. And that was like when you used to camp out in your back garden in the tent age, really young. Yeah. I'm trying to think back now, but yeah, kind of, that's where it all kind of began. And then the Bon Jovi thing came afterwards.
What Bon Jovi album was your inroad?
New Jersey. New Jersey was my inroad. And then Keep the Faith. And then I was like, I want to go back and see what else there is. And then I missed out Slippery When Wet altogether. And I went back to the first album. And then Slippery When Wet came after that. And then that was it. Yeah, I was hooked. Like Bon Jovi's my favourite band ever, undoubtedly. And when I really got into them, that's when I was like, started to get into more the 80s rock. Because it was a lot of stuff I was into was like the sort of pop side of stuff. And a lot of instrumentals like Hans Zimmer, Vince DiCola, people like that, James Horner. He's listened to an awful lot of instrumental music and movie soundtrack stuff, especially from the 80s. Like, you know, Hans Zimmer did some like Days of Thunder.
Did that kind of give you more focus on like keyboards and more orchestral things?
It did, yeah. That when I was learning to play the keyboard originally, I was learning to play the piano, and I didn't really know anything about synthesizer music. I didn't know what a synth was. So I just saw Prince doing it on Purple Rain film where he's playing The Beautiful Ones. And I thought, I don't know what he's playing, but I want one sort of thing. I didn't know what it was. But then when I started to get into more like movies, like pop culture of films and stuff, I was thinking like, especially the 80s, I was like, what's making these sounds? Like, you know, especially like Rocky IV, you know, thought, whoa, like what is going on? You know, and then that's when again, I was like, what is this? And then I found, right, it's a thing called a synthesizer. What the hell is a synthesizer? You know, and it just grew out. I just became this sponge, like while a lot of my friends are going out and going to clubs and bars and stuff, I just sort of just stay in and just learn everything I could about music, you know, and it just became this mad thing. I just couldn't get enough of it. I just could not get away from it. And when I wasn't doing it, I was thinking about doing it. And when I was doing it, I wasn't thinking about anything else, you know. It was great.
Are you a fan of like John Hughes movies? Because he always used to pay a lot of attention to soundtracks, and a lot of his films are quite synth heavy and like new wave stuff, like Breakfast Club and Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Planes, Trains and Automobiles and things like that.
Yeah, you literally listed like three of my favourite films. The Breakfast Club is like, I used to dress like John Bender like all the time. The iconic outfit with the cut off. I've got pictures of me with Guns N' Roses tribute in Switzerland, 15,000 people, and I'm dressed as John Bender. It's great. I had the boots with the red scarf.
I was just about to say, do you have the scarf tied around?
Mate, I had the Mac. I had the gloves, mate. I had everything.
Holy shit!
No one cottoned onto it. And I was like, "Fucking hell, he looks pretty cool." And there's one guy, this like French-speaking guy, is like a bonjour, and I went, "All right, mate." He goes, "Comment allez-vous?" And I was like, "Sean." He's like, "Oh, he was Jean Bender," and I was like, "Yes!" I was like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "He's the first guy ever." And I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Wow." Total bro points. That was really cool. So yeah, man.
Thing is though, that's still a cool look to this day. You could rock that look today and still look good.
I've still got it, mate. I've still got the pants, I've got the boots, I've got the cut off, I've got it. It's just waiting. It's waiting for the perfect time to come out again.
That's like a New Year's Eve costume every year. Sorted.
If you watch the You Don't Understand Me video, I'm wearing the cut-off in that. So it creeps in, it comes in every now and again, and it does make a bit of a comeback.
Glam rock cosplay, isn't it?
What it's about, The John Hughes stuff, like the Trains, Planes and Automobiles, John Candy and that. I've loved the soundtrack to that. It's band's called
Dream Academy.
The Dream Academy, yeah. I love, really nice. I love the choirs in that thing. It's called The Power to Believe. That's the main song off it, yeah. So yeah, I love that.
At what point did you start going to see live shows?
That came a bit later, really. I was about 17 because I've been living on my own for like a year then, and I was starting to get to grips of being an adult, and looking after a house and all that sort of stuff, and started going out with some friends, and we used to go and watch sort of more of like your modern bands. But when I could go and watch the bigger bands, like I went to Twickenham to watch Iron Maiden. It was the Somewhere Back in Time tour when they were doing all the 80s stuff, and that was great. And bands like Dragon Force and Nightwish, I used to go and watch those bands quite a lot. And I used to watch like grassroots bands as well, like unsigned bands and stuff, because I was in one myself. So going to watch bands wasn't really, it still hasn't really been anything that's like a major thing for me. When I get the chance to watch, I always sort of want to be on the stage. And when I'm watching someone, I'm thinking, I wish it was me, I wish I was doing that. I will watch back Goo Goo Dolls. Me and Bobbins went to go and watch Goo Goo Dolls twice, and that I absolutely love that band, so much. And so when a band comes around that's like special, like I really want to see them, I will always go and watch. But yeah, I don't really go out that much to watch too many live bands because I just get envious. I want it to be me up there.
How about rock clubs? Were there any near you as a teenager? Because there's been some regular ones up and down the country who've managed to survive for quite some time. Was that something you used to go to?
Yeah, in Southport, right near the beach, there was a place called WD Sutton's, and then it turned into the Shakespeare, and that was like I was in a band, like a real metal band when I was about 18. From that point, I got into like really heavy, like really, really heavy Bring Me the Horizon sort of vibes. And it's when MySpace was huge then, and all these bands were getting picked up that were doing this death metal, post-hardcore, grindcore kind of sound. And I was in one of those bands.
What was you playing in that?
I was playing guitar for that. So I really got into metal. And then I only came back to the 80s stuff a bit later. So I had a few years away from the 80s stuff. And it was just became about really heavy metal. But then I kind of came back to what I knew when it wasn't really working out. But no, there was quite a few in Preston as well. There's quite a few clubs that did it. Quite a good scene, but I used to have to go to Manchester and Liverpool if I really wanted to watch any decent stuff, because Southport and Preston isn't really the hub of music, is it, if we're honest,
Didn't you have a band called Loveless?
Yeah, that was like my first proper band. I was in one before, which was the metal band.
Didn't you guys have Google back then? Because there's a band called The Loveless from America who've released like one of the greatest power pop albums of all time.
Oh yeah, we were aware of that. The Loveless. Our singer designed this really cool logo, and we just thought, sod it, no one's going to hear of us. We're from this little sleepy bloody town.
We'll be Loveless UK if anything comes of it.
Yeah, that's it. So I think our MySpace was like Loveless Band UK. I think that's what our MySpace thing was, our hyperlink. But no, it's, Loveless was like a full-on glam hair metal thing. We used to do, God, it was, looking back now, it's kind of tragic. Yeah, we had this, like, we didn't have a drummer. We could not find a drummer because I was like, me and my brother, like the only guys in the village with long hair, so definitely was no drummers. And this keyboard called Triton, I used to program drum backing tracks and synth backing tracks into the sequencer. And basically this would be our drum machine that I would have to manually record the drums with my fingers. We'd go out and we'd do these bars and clubs like Coppell, Chorley, Preston, all these like, sort of back alley towns, and we'd turn up, no drummer, just set the keyboard up at the back. I'd be on guitar, Casey on vocals, Mark on bass. We would look like Poison or like Motley Crue, Theatre of Pain era. I'm so glam. And we'd just stand there and have to walk back and press play, and it'd go, and we'd start playing Round and Round by Rat or something like that. And then it'd end, and there'd be about 18 people going, hey, and they were like spandex pants and huge hair, and yeah, God.
Who were your heroes at that point?
That's when the Bon Jovi thing kicked in. I've got, it's in the other room, but I've got the Richie Sambora Kramer Super Strats, and that's when I got that. I'll never part with that. It's really valuable. That's in the other room, but that's when I was getting into the Bon Jovi. So yeah, Bon Jovi was that was king then for me. And then obviously Crew, Cinderella, Rat, Warrant, all those sorts of bands.
Was you getting a chance to kind of cross paths with any other bands playing similar kind of stuff?
Yeah, there was a band from Liverpool, these Scouse lads called Sick Circus, they were called. They were doing much more of a Skid Row thing. It was heavier and more attitude, and we were more glam. And we used to pair up with them a lot. We actually did a showcase for Spine Farm. That's when Reckless Love had just got signed to them and released their first album. Dante Benuto, is that his name? Yeah, he's like someone from Spine Farm or Kerrang or something. He arranged for someone to come and see us, and he never turned up in the end. This was at Hotel California in Birkenhead. I don't know if you ever heard of that place. That's like a Maiden played there, Ozzy Osbourne's played. It's all before they were all famous. It's gone now, it's been demolished, but it was a real old school venue. But yeah, so that was a loveless thing. Yeah.
How long was that band together then? Did you kind of really start pushing stuff?
Yeah, it was like 2009 till about 2012, I think. We didn't really know what we were doing.
Did you get a drummer in the end?
Yeah, well, we had about 3, but they were, I mean, to look at them, they were the most, did not fit the bill at all, like...
Just need a drummer, get me anybody.
If you can play, great. There's a really funny picture of us at a festival, and me, Mark and Casey, it looked like Cinderella or something. And this drummer, he was like a bodybuilder at the time, he's just in like straight leg blue jeans, pair of trainers, and just a red hoodie. He looks like, it's like, what is he doing with them? And he was actually in the band as well. And at one point, how things have come full circle, actually, I got in touch with the manager of Tiger Tails, and I sent him our demo because they were doing a couple of shows. I don't know if Rob would have been in the band, and it might have been before then, I don't know, but I sent him the demos over, and he said, I really like the band. He said, I like the sound of the band. And so he says, but I don't like your singer. And I was like, all right. And I never told our singer that because it would have killed him. Funny, imagine that, if Rob was in the band at that time, I don't know if he was or not, but if he'd have liked us, he might have had us opening for them, and I would have actually, been gigging with Rob years and years in Night City. So, yeah, pretty weird, really.
You really embraced the tribute band scene by becoming a member of a GNR band and a Motley Crue tribute. Did you see that as a way of making an income through music, or was there another career path for you?
Before that, I was obviously did Loveless, and that ended because our singer, he just couldn't, he couldn't handle it. He tried to live the lifestyle without having the content, and having any sort of anything released. He just ruined it for all of us, unfortunately. And I kind of took like 18 months away from it, because I thought I kind of put everything into it, and I thought, wow, I was 21 or something at the time, 22. And then when I was getting back into it, I auditioned for a wedding band, like corporate wedding band. It was called the Top Guns, and it was all function stuff like 80s pop. Did like 3 or 4 rock songs, like Don't Stop Believing, Summer 69, Living on a Prayer, but the rest of it was like Luther Vandross, Paul Simon, Lionel Richie, Michael Jackson, Peter Gabriel, real 80s pop music. And it was the best thing I ever did, because they were like really high ranking musicians, done a lot of stuff, big weddings, corporate events and stuff, and learned a whole new craft of guitar playing, because a lot of the 80s stuff, the pop music, you don't realize how good the guitar work is. It's so intricate and delicate, and I'd just been playing Bon Jovi riffs. That's all I'd really known. And then some heavy metal stuff. But yeah, it was a game changer. And after that, that's when I looked at the tribute thing, because the wedding thing came to an end, and they decided to disband it after a couple of years. And I thought, what can I do now? And then I saw an advert, a guy called Nuno from Manchester looking for a Nicky Six. And I was like, I'd never played bass in a band before. I'd sort of recorded bass and stuff for demos, and I thought, I fancied that, And I just got in touch, and I said, what do you want? He said, send me Wild Side and Girls, you playing bass in a video. I said, right. So I went into my attic, and I was like, right, where's my glam attire, because it'd been retired for a while. Because I was wearing a Don Johnson suit with the shoulder pads for the Top Guns, because it was an 80s, themed band. So yeah, I got the old spandex out and that, and I was in my bedroom, dressed up, and I just rocked out. He said, right, that's it, perfect. Just me and him then, and then we got the band going, and that was 2015, that was. And yeah, really proud of it. Been doing it for a long time now, and love it. Love Crew. So, and then it expanded into Poison, and then Guns N' Roses came saying, can you play keyboards for us? Then another Guns N' Roses from London, which are like the world's biggest one. They've played with like 4 members of Guns N' Roses. They play all over the world, and they said, can you play with us? And then this is where I was saying learning different instruments starts to come as a benefit later down the line So well, as you saw, when we did the Poison thing, our drummer gave us like 5 days notice and he couldn't do it. It's like, what can we do? So I was like, I'll do it, I'll learn like 15 Poison and 15 Crew songs in 5 days. That's no problem. I made a few mistakes, but I think, it's pretty much there, wasn't it,
Oh, good. And then you get the call to play keyboards with Rob Wild for a festival show he was doing, which would eventually lead to you joining Midnight City. Had you put the idea of an original melodic rock band on the back burner, or was that something still in your sights, or did it just come as a total surprise?
I knew that the market for this sort of stuff it's just too late, isn't it? It's far too late, 30 years too late. And I was thinking, like, what would have suited me? Be like pop star or an up and coming artist, anyone, Like I had an offer to play with Danny from McFly in his solo band. I got offered to do that at one point, but I couldn't do it because I was away on another tour.
How did you get on that radar?
Literally, I don't know. I just get these emails that people have said, oh, someone passed me your number. And I'm like, okay. And yeah, it's just word of mouth because I've said I don't use social media anymore. I'm kind of cut off from stuff, but I'm quite lucky the fact that my name's out there and people recommend me to work with them, which is great, so I'm hoping that's just going to keep growing, and the more stuff I do, the more I get out there. Yeah, so I wanted to join like a pop band or something, like being a backing musician for like Peter Andre or whatever, just someone just on a stage. And I was happy doing the tribute thing. And then Rob did his solo show. And then when he said, do you want to do like an AOR thing? I was like, I'd never played keyboards in a band at that point. I'd played keyboards, but I'd never played live before because Guns N' Roses came after Midnight City. And I just said, yeah, all right, sod it. And then sent me the demos. And I was thinking, do I want to be a guitar player? Because, AOR and hair metal is all about guitar and vocals, isn't it? Because everyone wants to be a guitar player. But then when I thought more about it, I thought, actually, even though the keyboards are like in the background, which I'm fine with, I don't have any ego. Anyone that knows me, I don't have to be at the front, but the keyboards are so important to that sort of music. And I thought if I can really give myself an opportunity to create some really good stuff doing this, so I took it on, and I'm really glad I did because I love being the keyboard player for the band now because all my influences from like the John Hughes stuff, Vince DiCola, I get to like sneak bits of them into the songs and stuff like that. And only I really know it, and I sort of like when I'm playing, I sort of smile, I go, yeah, that's like, something that Vince DiCola would do a Rocky for, like, and just things like that. So yeah, it just sort of went in from there really. And then when I started doing the Midnight City thing, obviously I loved it and never really looked back, to be honest.
But you also got the call to perform with 80s soundtrack legend Stan Bush. I would imagine you were overly familiar with his songs.
Well, I knew him anyway, that he did. He wrote loads of really, really good songs for different artists anyway, like The House of Lords, Love Don't Lie, and things like that. And it was my friend Nigel Bailey from Three Lions. And Bailey, I was actually having a bath. I'd just been to the gym and I was in the bath and my phone was next to me. It rang and I was like, who the hell's this? I answered it and he's like, proper, Bradford, Yorkshire fella. He's like, all right, Shawn. I'm like, hello, this is like, it's Nigel Bailey. I was like, all right, Nigel. He's like, yeah. And he said, do you headline the festival with Stan, do you fancy? And I was like, yeah, just Pope Catholic. I was like, yes, I definitely fancy it. And mate, I tell you, that was Stan is such a nice guy. He's so dry as well. I mean, like he when we were rehearsing it, like he wasn't really like introducing the songs and stuff. He's like, he'd look at like us and say, "Do you think I should introduce this one?" It's like, well, it's Stan on the set. You should probably, make a thing out of it. He's like, yeah, maybe. He's like, your biggest song. What are you talking about? And that was great. That was, oh God, I love that. I did that festival with him and we still keep in touch now. Like he emails me at Christmas and that says happy Christmas and stuff like that. And yeah, any more shows that he does in Europe, then I'm his man, I'm his keyboard player for it. So really, really proud of that because he's great, isn't he? His songs are just, and his voice is just, even now he's like 60 odd and he nails it. Loads of footage of the show on YouTube as well from that thing. So I've always got it. Got the stems as well because I got it recorded from the desk. So I've actually got the full show.
How did you do? If you're listening to the stems, how did you do?
I got a little bit too excited in some bits, especially in the chorus of Thunder in Your Heart. I got really, got very excited. So yeah, listen back, I think sometimes it's best to just remember things as they were. because like, oh God, I was a bit, pitching and my vocals a bit out there, but sod it, it's only rock and roll, isn't it?
You mentioned it a second ago. As a keyboardist in a band, you've managed to, let's say, sail the turbulent waters of either being stuck behind a curtain or shoved in a corner. Even though you say you're not bothered about being at the forefront, you have brought the keyboards a little more focus to them. You're very animated on stage, even though you are behind the keyboards, and even incorporate the old guitar into the show. So it's obviously still very important for you to entertain. Is there any particular keyboardists that have inspired you, or do you draw influences from other musicians? Because I do that. People say, who's your favourite bass player who influenced you the most? But there's actually been like a lot of guitarists and like the showmanship. And so do you draw influences from everywhere and try and put it out that way?
I think I'm like similar to you. It's like as a performer, I get influenced by people as a performer. So someone like Tommy Lee is a massive influence because that guy, he's just an animal, when he plays. Prince as well, Michael Jackson performers. So I've got loads of guitar heroes, which as a guitarist, I'm influenced by, like Richie Sambora's, Steve Stevens, massive Steve Stevens fan. But when it comes to keyboard playing, I can't just rattle off names like, Jonathan Cain, or even now I'm struggling, I'm thinking, else David Bryan.
Yeah, there's not many more who've been able to give a personality. I mean, David Bryan's the first one. He used to be my favourite member of Bon Jovi because I used to think he was hilarious in all the home videos and stuff. When you'd see him in an interview, he was really likeable and came across great. But other than that, there's not many.
As a performer, I kind of, and it's not there's no diss into anybody or any individual people here, but it's just fact. Everyone knows that the sort of uncoolest member of a band is the keyboard player, and that's fine because unfortunately, they get stuck at the back and all you really see is just a little box and some blokes stood there, and that's it. But for as long as I can remember, so about 17, I started doing it. I've been doing it with it tilted forward. It took me many, many, many years to be able to play comfortably like that because it just defies everything. But just looks so cool. And I get so many people asking me about it and they say, oh, why'd you do it? And I say, I was unfortunately dropped as a child, so everything's kind of a bit, I wasn't, but I just tell people that. But again, I'm a natural performer, so everything is about how can it be more exciting. This guy from Dragon Force as well, Vadim, he was one of the guys that convinced me to get a guitar because I got speaking to him on the emails and stuff. And yeah, he was talking to me about his setup and his gear and that, and he's just wild. It's like he's been taking LSD or something, he looks, and I was thinking, whoa. I always think of it as if you're watching someone play and they look like they're having the time of their life, it allows you to enjoy it more as well.
It gets you pumped up as well.
That's it. It does. Like, he's having a great time, I'm going to have a great time. So yeah, I jump around, I twirl about, I stand on the stand, and then for the new tour that we're doing, I've bought these 2 brand new guitars as well, which I've got the other one, the big white one, like Millennium Falcon, that's sold. I got rid of that because it's just too big, but now I've got these 2 brand new ones, a red and a black one, and they are really cool. So yeah, I've programmed it all now, so some of the songs I'm going to be doing that on, running around. But yeah, again, it's just another thing. Rob Wilder's really unsure about the guitar thing. He's like, He sent me a video of Europe doing it, a song. I think it was like Superstitious. And he comes out and he has it like so high up on his chest like this. And he said, I think they're really like lame. And I was like, right. I said, well, I'm going to do 1 gig. Bet you change your mind. And the first time I ever used a guitar was, I think you were there. It was at Nottingham Alberts. And I got it out, and halfway through the first song, he came up to me and he put his mouth on me and he said, yes, it's actually pretty fucking cool, isn't it? And I said, yeah. And that was it, because I have it slung really low and I'm jumping around. He's like, yeah, all right, fair enough, mate. Yeah, it's pretty good. So yeah, it's just performing, whatever it is, I can run around a bit, and it's just something a bit different, something a bit different as well.
So is there anything else you want to add with it, all your projects and stuff like that, and keep everybody in the loop with you?
The writing of the music video that I did and the directing and all that stuff now has become a massive thing for me, away from me, because I need something away from music, because I've obsessed for 15 years over music. So the film and TV thing, I want to get into like making videos for like bands and directing, creating videos, commercials, making my own short commercials and stuff, and just shooting stuff. And I'm basically making a website which encompasses everything that I do. So there's going to be music side, so any projects I've done, projects I'm in, bands I'm in, and then it's going to be recording, because I've this one thing that I've learned how to do over the lockdown with that social media is I've learned how to produce music. So now I can mix, I can master, I can record, I can produce a full album now, and I've got my own studio now, so I could even offer to do demos and things like that, and then making videos, making shorts. So I want to make a website under Ocean Drive Studio as just something that does everything that I do. So that is a way that I can put things out that I am still alive. I could go anywhere with this, depending on how things go. So yeah, I just try to just keep him busy, mate. Whatever stops me from just sitting here thinking about whatever's not going on, whatever keeps me busy, dude, that's me.
Dude, thank you ever so much. I've loved catching up with you.
Yeah, we'll have to go out for a pint, and hang out again soon, watch Rocky 4 again or something,
I'm in, anytime. Well, congratulations on the new album. I'm excited to hear it all. The singles have been great, and just the buzz around the band is wonderful to see everybody getting on board and just the fan base growing.
Yeah, it's going in the right direction, and obviously after COVID now, and it sort of dies off, hopefully we can get back to playing again. And I'm glad the videos have gone down well as well, and everyone seems to like those. And yeah, it's all very positive at the minute, going in the right direction. So hopefully we'll just carry on with it.
Right. Well, I shall let you go.
All right, buddy. Thanks. Appreciate you asking me, by the way, mate. It's appreciate it.
No problem at all. It's been good. I've loved it. Cheers to the uber-talented Shawn Charvette for checking in with me here on the Straight to Video podcast. Hope you all enjoyed the talk, and be sure to follow the band over at midnitecity.com. That's Midnite spelled MIDNITE, and get your order in for their new album Itch You Can't Scratch, which is released on June 11th through Roulette Records. Really appreciate the continued support for this show as we edge towards 100 episodes. You can find all earlier shows at stvpod.com, along with a whole host of straight-to-video music and videos. There's a merch page on there too, where you can grab a straight-to-video t-shirt. And also, if you'd like to support the show just that little bit more, then there's a support page where you can buy me a coffee, which simply means you can make a small donation of your choice, which all goes towards the growth and running of a show like this. Thank you all so much. So thanks again for listening, and for all the messages and tweets you continue to send and share. It really makes a difference to hear from you all. Until we get to chat again, please take care and speak soon.